I have the Queen of SEO on today. I cannot tell you just how super excited I am. Let's take a deep dive into search engine optimization and have some fun. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, welcome to episode 39 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. As always, I'm very thankful that you're lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices and I sincerely appreciate you making me one of them. Today's episode has been brought to you by my new downloadable, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Facebook Ads. I know hundreds of you have already downloaded it and given me some fantastic feedback on how it's helped you just take that first step into doing Facebook ads. So I'm very thankful for all that great feedback. If you haven't got a copy yet, head to socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/ads and you will find it right there. I have to tell you guys, I have complete Hollywood love heart eyes for our guest this week. Her name is Kate Toon and she is literally the Aussie Queen of SEO. I haven't met Kate in real life, but I have heard her on other podcasts. I follow her, I've signed up for some of her emails, and I've basically Jen stalked her, and I'm putting that in, quotation marks. She might be the Queen of SEO, but I am the Queen of online stalking. Just ask any of my friends. Good stalking though, not creepy, just saying. So when I reached out to Kate via LinkedIn, which is my favourite social media platform, and asked her to be a guest on my podcast, I was absolutely floored by her response. She wrote back simply, "Absolutely, thanks for asking. No, I'll get back to you," or "Who the heck are you?" Just absolutely. Thanks for asking. Now, that's how a queen does it on social media. Take note, people. Needless to say, I'm super excited to be talking to Kate about SEO today and copywriting, because she's actually an expert at copywriting as well. And I just know that you're going to love this conversation. There is just so much gold in there. But first, I'm going to do everyone's favourite section of the podcast, the discovery of the week. Sourcebottle. Have you heard of it? It's spelt source as in SOURCE, bottle, not like sauce as in tomato sauce. Sourcebottle helps journalists and bloggers find expert sources and helps PR pros and businesses get free PR coverage and publicity. Now, do I have your attention? Free PR. Completely golden, right? Getting PR for your business can not only set yourself up, but set your business up as the expert and the go-to people. It's such a great way of building your brand and giving value to your audience, both new and current. If you haven't listened to episode 14 of the podcast, then go back and have a listen. I had PR expert Jules Brooke on as my guest, and she explains all about getting free PR and how to leverage from it. Something like Sourcebottle just makes this easier. They make it easier to find the places you can contribute to. Following them on Facebook and signing up for their email, that's what I would do first. Every day they email or post about their PR opportunities that they've found, and you can apply for them or you can start writing a piece. This makes it really super simple to start, because with PR, that's the most common question that I hear. Where do I start? If PR is something you've been sitting on the fence about in your marketing plan as a bit of a strategy for a while, then this is a really handy tool to help you get out of that rut. There's also another one that I subscribe to. It's actually called Audacious Agency, AUDACIOUS Agency, and they're located in Brisbane. Similar business model, so worth checking out as well. So there you go, 2 discoveries in one. Enjoy. As usual, just a little disclaimer, my discoveries are just that and I'm in no way affiliated with them, but I promise to tell you if I ever am. I just love them. I've used Sourcebottle and I thought it'd be handy to let my world know that Sourcebottle exists. And if you have a little discovery or something you use inside your business and you would like to share it, I would love to hear from you. Simply tag me or email me. That would be awesome. But let's get on to the episode. Now, if you're thinking just for a second, hey, Jen, why would you have someone on your podcast that you don't actually know? Well, I would say, give me about 30 minutes from now and you'll see why. Kate is awesome. So who is Kate Toon? Well, her Instagram profile describes her as the Beyonce of SEO and copy. Her LinkedIn profile describes her as an SEO lover, a copyright mentor, a speaker, a podcaster, an author, a copywriter, and a hula hooper. Yep. That just takes me right back. As soon as someone mentions hula hoops, I'm thinking about the Big M hula hoops. Who else? Put your hand up if you had a Big M hula hoop when you were younger. Anyway, sorry, I digress, but I can't stop thinking about Big M hula hoops and the smell of the chocolate Big M hula hoop whenever someone mentions hula hoops. All right, moving right along from my childhood memories. She's all that. She's also an award-winning SEO copywriter, SEO consultant with over 2 decades of experience in all things of advertising and digital and writing. Kate's originally from the UK, so you'll hear that in her voice or in her accent, but now she lives just outside Sydney and has worked with lots of brands including eHarmony, Curash and Kmart, as well as helped countless small business owners just like us produce great content and improve their copywriting and SEO. She's the founder of the Clever Copywriting School and the Recipe for SEO Success e-course, as well as the co-host of the Hot Copy podcast. So now, are you getting the picture? Why I'm so stoked to have her on my podcast? Yeah, you are. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's welcome Kate. Thank you so much, Kate, for joining us on the podcast today. I am super excited to have you on. But for those of you, even though I've just introduced you, people who don't know Kate Toon, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and your business so that everyone gets a great idea of what fantastic value they're going to get today?
Thanks for having me, Jen. It's good to be here. Yeah, so I guess I'm an entrepreneur, although that phrase makes me feel a little bit icky. A misfit entrepreneur, I should say. I have a couple of businesses. The first is the Recipe for SEO Success, where I teach people how to grapple the Google beast and get more traffic and conversions. I do that through courses and resources and my own podcast. And my other business is the Clever Copywriting School, where I help copywriters build successful and joyful copywriting careers. And again, there's a membership and a podcast and resources and a conference called CopyCon. And then on the side, I do a little bit of copywriting myself and speaking around the world. And I've written a few books. So got my fingers and toes in lots of different pies.
Oh my goodness, you do. Well, I guess it's the copyright queen, or I should actually say it's actually the SEO queen part that I got you on the podcast to talk to my audience about today, because SEO can be seen as so complicated and hard and really overwhelming to get your head around. So as the expert in this area, can you just maybe tell us quite simply what SEO is?
Yeah, no worries. I think the acronym is a little bit confusing. So it stands for search engine optimization, but that doesn't really make it any easier to understand.
It really doesn't.
It really doesn't. So it's really the art, and it is somewhat of an art, of getting Google and the other search engines to fall in love with your website, so that when someone types a keyword phrase or types anything into a search engine that's related to your business, that's going to drive sales for you, that your website ranks well, that you're the first result or the second result. So, for me, if someone types in, copywriter Sydney, I want to ensure that I'm the first result for that phrase, because the first result is going to get the lion's share of the traffic. About 33% of the clicks go to that first organic result. And obviously the more traffic you're getting that's relevant, the more likely you are to convert that into customers. So it's a love game, really. And I like to draw the analogy of The Bachelor. Do you watch The Bachelor, Jen? Don't pretend.
No, Kate, I don't, but I am well aware of The Bachelor.
Well, I really think that's a priority for you after this episode. But you know, just like when we're dating, you know, when we're on Tinder, not that but you have a list of things for your dream man. You know, he has to be tall and have a great sense of humor and blah blah blah. Google has a checklist of about 200 or so things that it's looking for from our online presence, and SEO is a case of basically trying to work out what those things are and then doing them.
Yeah. Okay. I remember reading a quote somewhere, and I can't remember who put it up, but it was kind of, you know, Google will love you when everyone else loves you. Is that the
Yes,
sort of thing that you're saying?
yeah, I think that might be me. But it's they say that Google is like the prom queen. She'll befriend you when everyone else has befriended you. You know,
Ah.
so yeah, you have to. Humans lead Google. So the really important thing to think about when it comes to SEO is that none of it is actually rocket science. If you think about your experience of going on a website, you want that website to load quickly. You want it to be secure. You want the buttons to be easy to press when you're on your mobile. You want the content to be interesting and relevant, and the pictures not to be blurry. Well, those are all things that Google wants too. So there's really not very many things that Google wants that wouldn't make sense to the average user. And that's all Google's trying to do, is improve everyone's experience of the internet and make it easier to connect, you know, people with websites. That's its main goal, apart from making lots of money out of us as well, of course.
That old chestnut. Yes, yes, that
Yeah.
one. So I guess, you know,
Mhm.
like I hadn't heard the statistic before about 33% get, you know, the first Google organic ranking get 33% of the traffic. So that's really interesting. So I guess in the simplest form of getting Google to love us, then what can small business owners who don't know much about search engine optimization, what can they actually do to help themselves get some Google love?
Well, I mean, I think obviously there's a degree of a decision about whether you want to educate yourself and do it yourself, or whether you want to outsource it to an SEO company. And obviously that's a bit fraught with perils. I think education's super, super important. And I think there are good places to go, like my group on Facebook, I Love SEO. And there are bad places to get advice. Like, I don't think you should be randomly asking Sue in some mum's Facebook group what her SEO advice is, because, you know, people don't necessarily know. People have different agendas. And, you know, when it comes, you know, there's core things you can do. Obviously there's 200 things on that checklist, but if we were to pick some of the biggies, you know, one of the biggest things is making sure your website is fast. It should load in less than 3 seconds. And there's a good little tool that you can use called Pingdom Site Speed tool that will tell you how slow or fast your site is, and then you can fix up things to make it faster. So perhaps you've got some really chubby images on your homepage, or the site's been quite badly coded, or it's hosted on a really slow server. If you fix up those kind of things, that's going to help your SEO, your ranking. But there's oodles of other things. You know, I could list off thousands of things. I think at a very core level, it's about making sure your website is a good user experience, you know, that it's easy to use. And often we are not the best judge of our own website. So it's like watching
Mm.
someone else use our website. Where do they stumble? Where do they fall? But really, when it comes down to small business owners getting started with search engine optimization, they need to educate themselves. Yeah, you need to understand it, and you can't be frightened of it. I'm sure you've heard this before, Jen, but, you know, when it comes to SEO, people go, oh, it's too technical, it's changing all the time, and it's a bit of a rip-off. So I'm going to focus on Instagram, because I get Instagram's so easy. And the thing is, none of those things are really true. You know, it's not that technical. Most of the tech stuff is pretty common sense. It doesn't change that much. You know, everything that changes pretty much we would have expected it to change. And, you know, the problem is with other platforms and channels, that it's just that Google is the most powerful. I think they say something like 70% of all transactions, whether that's business or purchase or e-commerce, start with a Google search. So if you're not on Google, you're not on the internet, really.
Wow. Wouldn't we all like to have a business that was that powerful and, you know,
Yeah.
had that bigger share of the market that we're all trying to be in? Goodness me, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess on the other side of your business is, some fantastic copywriting and, helping small business owners with copywriting, as well as, doing great copy yourself. If you haven't signed up for Kate's newsletters that she puts out every week, then I highly recommend that you go and do that for a start. But how can good copy help us with getting some Google love with our search engine optimization?
Well, again, it's really about connecting the dots, about understanding the pain points that your customers have, understanding the problems that you're going to solve, and then reflecting those on your website in a language that your customers are using. So too often I think small businesses try and be overly professional and talk in this slightly jargonistic acronym kind of style. They're overly formal, and it doesn't connect with the reader. So the first thing is you need to understand what people are typing into Google to find businesses like yours. Are people typing in copywriter Sydney, or are they typing in small business website words, for financial services? What are they typing in? And then you have to have content on your site that matches that. But more than that, it's about having a sticky site, because SEO will only get you so far. It will get people to your door. It's the copy,
yes,
the imagery that drags people through and makes them convert into customers. So, how engaging is your homepage? How sticky is it? What questions are you asking? How quickly do you get to the point? Is it really easy for me to look at your homepage and in 10 seconds work out who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it better than anybody else? If I can't work that out very quickly, I'm going to skip out of your site and go to the next person in the search results, and you've lost me.
Yeah, that's such a great point. And I know that, we're talking about SEO and copy, but just what you said then is something that I'm trying to, spread the word about as far as Facebook ads go. Like, people say Facebook ads don't work. They might choose the objective, say, of traffic. And it's just like, yes, but, Facebook will get them there. But what is there when they land there, type of thing? Like, what are you telling the person? What's the copy look like? What do the photos look like? So it's exactly the same. Google will get them there, hopefully, but, to retain them, it's on us. So I love that point. Thank you.
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, they call it CRO, conversion rate optimization, and there's acronyms for everything, but it really just is. So many sites I go to, and there's no button on the homepage for me to contact them. There's no phone number. There's the copy's like light grey on a grey background, so it's barely readable. The images make no sense. It's all common sense stuff, but it's just sometimes very hard to recognize your own faults, your own flaws, I think.
So how did you get into this side of the business? How did you fall into being, a bit of an SEO expert?
Well, I worked in ad agencies for many years in the UK and Australia, and I started working in SEO a long time ago, before most people even realized it was a thing. And about 12 years ago, I got pregnant, and I knew that I couldn't stay in agency world because it's a hard life. So I set up as a freelancer, and I was set up as a copywriter primarily, but I looked around and saw that there were so many other copywriters that I was never going to be found, So I started using my SEO superpowers to make myself rank, and I managed to get to #1 in Australia for the word copywriter, which was quite an achievement back then. And then, people started coming to me and going, well, I found you via Google. How did you do that? Why is it that any phrase relating to copywriting, you're #1? It doesn't matter what I type. And I'm like, well, I can teach you. So I started to do workshops. And then from there onwards, I moved into having online courses and the podcast. And it's just kind of grown. It's been a kind of evolution over time. And also about 4 years ago, I pivoted. I pivoted away from being so much focused on copy and to focus more on SEO, because at that time there were no other real female SEOs in Australia. Like, you couldn't name another female SEO at that point. There just were none. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to have a niche. Now there's millions of them. Most of them have done my course and have set up, and it's great. Now there are lots of options. It's a bit more equality. So I feel like I was vaguely a bit of a pioneer. Probably not. That makes me sound like an idiot, but yeah.
That was the word that I had in my head I was about to call you. So no, pioneer sounds very pioneerish to me.
Yeah, well, you've got to find a niche, haven't you? And I had to find something that made me be able to stand out. And back then, that was it. Now, not so much, but thankfully, by this point, I've built up a little bit of a reputation. So, I'm all good. But yeah, it's been an evolution. I didn't grow up thinking I wanted to spend my life doing this kind of SEO kind of thing, but here I am, and it's going well. So I'll keep doing it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So for those that are listening that, they know SEO is important and they understand that, getting some Google love is what they need for their website, or perhaps, they're just starting off in that journey. But if they didn't want to do it themselves, if they actually wanted to hire an agency or hire somebody to do it for them, where do they start with that? Because I'm sure I'm not alone of the people that get probably at least 5 or 6 emails a day from someone who can promise me that I will rank, number 1 on Google. And how do you sort the good ones from the bad ones when you're looking to hire someone to help you?
Look, it's incredibly difficult, just as with anything. How do you find a good accountant? How do you find a good web designer? Often it comes through word of mouth recommendation, which is powerful, but you've actually got to also, looking at something that's been designed, most of us are capable of saying whether that's aesthetically pleasing or not. When it comes to SEO, if you don't understand SEO, it's very hard for you to recommend someone because you don't know if they're doing a good job or not. So it is really tricky. I mean, those emails that we get should just be ignored because they are just soliciting for work, and no good SEO person sends an email like that. I don't get those kind of emails from copywriters or from video editors. I only get them from SEOs. So they should just be, quite frankly, ignored. Delete them as soon as you get them. Don't believe anything in them. I get those emails. I get 10 a week, and I rank for hundreds of keywords and teach SEO. So they're to be ignored. I think you need to find someone that you trust to get a recommendation, and then you need to do your due diligence. So, ask the SEO agency for a list of 10 clients they've worked with for over 2 years. So not just been around for 3 or 4 months. Everyone can do a good job for 3 or 4 months. Do they have some long-term clients? Ask them for a list of keywords for which they've managed to get their clients number 1. Ask them if they've worked with a client like you before and how competitive is it going to be for you. Ask them what their methodology is. So how are they going to get you to number 1 for these keywords? Are they best practice? Are they going to build links? If they're going to build links, where are they linking them? Ask them about, and just, I think often it's a lot about vibe. A lot of salespeople talk a good talk, but if you start to probe them a little bit and go, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? If they're talking in jargon and acronyms, push them and say, look, I don't understand that term. Can you explain what it means? And if you don't understand it, then get them to explain it again. Because I think the biggest problem with lots of SEO agencies is they're not transparent. They try to bamboozle people with jargon. People feel stupid, so they don't ask any questions, and they end up handing over thousands of dollars a month for years without really understanding what they're paying for. I've had about 8,000 people take my courses, all the different ones, and the biggest issue I see is when people come on and they think they've paid for an SEO-friendly website, and they've been paying for an SEO consultant for a year, and we take a look at their site, because I teach them how to look inside their site and see what's been done, and we see that nothing's been done. Or even worse, negative things have been done, like dodgy things that are going to get them maybe a penalty from Google. They're going to be actually taken out of Google's ranking. So yeah, it's like you take your car to the garage. You have to have a little bit of understanding of how your car works. Otherwise, some dodgy mechanic could say like, yeah, you need a new engine. And if you're not confident enough to go, do I? Like, what? Why would I? What? You have to be able to question it and know whether they're telling the truth or not. And again, all comes down to education.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fantastic analogies and things that we can all understand. And I think that all of us have been in that situation somewhere in our life where we've been embarrassed to ask more questions because, we feel that we should know more. So I think that's a really great, to empower ourselves to go, you know what, let's just say we need to be told just like you would tell an 8-year-old. Explain to an 8-year-old and then I'll understand it. Let's go.
Exactly. And there's that classic Albert Einstein, I think, line, which is if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. And I think, if an SEO agency can't get it to the point where you understand what they're doing, then they're not the right SEO agency for you, because every month you're going to have questions. You're going to want to understand whether things are good or bad and why they are and what you need to do next. So if that communication isn't right from the get-go, you're never going to get it, really, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Great point. Very good point. I just think I myself, I don't know a lot about SEO, but I have heard that it can be a slower process. It's not like a Facebook ad where you can run it for 30 days and see a result. SEO can take a little while to start seeing results. Is that true or false?
Look, it can take a while, yeah, just like anything, really. I think 3 to 6 months is a realistic time frame for most sites, but it's totally dependent on how competitive your niche is. Like if you want to go out tomorrow and rank for plumber Sydney, you've got a battle on your hands. If you're just entering the market now and there's people who've been around for 5 years, that could take a lot of money, a lot of time to get you to number one spot for that keyword. But if you're in a less competitive niche, you could see a difference in results in a matter of weeks. So it depends what keyword you're going after, and it depends what competitors you have and what the competitors are doing. So it's hard to say. There's no black and white answer to that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, okay. So is success or not success of SEO that we might undertake ourselves or employ an agency, is that, how do we tell whether it's been successful? Is the only thing we're going for is Google love and rankings, or is there other metrics to measure success?
This is such a good question. I'm so glad you asked this, because everyone focuses on the ranking, don't they? Oh, I'm number one for this and blah, blah, blah. I see people on Facebook going, I'm number one for this phrase. And I'm like, oh, but you're Googling yourself and you're not incognito. Now, if you've been to your website before, Google will always show you in the number one position. So you're not really at number one. No, it's not all about ranking. It's about conversion. Everything's about money, honey. So, you could get one keyword to the first spot and get 10 people coming to your site each month, and 5 of those could convert. And that could be enough for you, because depending on what you sell or what you have. Or you could rank for another keyword and have 1,000 people hit your site, but none of them convert. So it's about traffic, it's about relevancy, and it's about conversion. Yes, anybody can get you to number one for a random keyword, but is there volume behind that keyword? Are people actually typing that in? And is there conversion intent behind that keyword? I want to give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. So I mentioned earlier when I was showing off that I got to number one for the keyword copywriter. And you might think that's amazing. And of course, there's huge traffic behind that. Loads of people type that into Google. But there was very little conversion intent. Because someone typing copywriter into Google, what do they want? They maybe want a course, a book. They want to be a copywriter. They are a copywriter and want to see what the competition's doing. They don't necessarily want to hire a copywriter. So while that was great for ego, the keyword that really got me money was financial services copywriter for websites. Fewer people are typing that in, but if only 2 or 3 of those convert a month, that's me making the money that I need to make. So again, it's all relative. So success, I think, is how much is the phone ringing, how many inquiries are you getting, and how much are you selling? And again, that's a great thing to say to SEO agencies. I don't care about ranking. This is what I'm making now. This is the percentage of people who convert when they hit my site. Improve that for me. I'd like 10 more phone calls a week. I'd like my conversion rate to go from 1% to 5%. I'd like to be making 20 grand a month rather than 10 grand a month. I don't care how you do it, but you deliver me that. So that's the metric that counts.
Yeah, I think that is such great advice. Thank you so much, Kate. Rather than thinking what questions can I ask the SEO, excuse me, rather than asking you what questions can I ask the SEO, maybe it is putting those really hard metrics and goals to them. This is what I have already. If I pay you X, will it look like this? What are you going to do to help me reach my goal, which is sitting up here? That's
I think that helps you also decide how much you want to pay for SEO. So, you know, if an SEO company kind of says, yeah, we think, because they'll never be able to give guarantees, and nor should they, because nothing's guaranteeable with Google. But if they say to you, look, we're going to charge you $2,000 a month, and you're like, wow, that sounds a lot. But they say, look, we think we can make you an extra 10 grand a month. Well, then that 2,000 seems affordable. But if they can't give you that kind of information, why would you give anybody $2,000 if you're not sure what return on investment you're going to get? You know, you have to have those metrics in place. So that's another thing to think about before you hire anybody to do anything.
Yeah, great. And I absolutely love, you know, it's all about the money, honey. Like, yeah, we do, so much inside our business, but at the end of the day, we are all here to make money, and we need to stop making bones about that and just put it out to the world. We're in business to make money.
Yeah, it's not a hobby. It's not a hobby. We actually want to support our families and have a nice lifestyle, and you know, we don't want to do all this hard work for nothing. So yeah, it sounds cynical, because obviously there's so many other aspects to the business, and you know, just enjoying your day and getting great customer feedback. But if you can't support yourself, then you're in a struggle. And I've just seen so many businesses go under because of the lack of sort of financial awareness. It's crucial, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic point. Of course, as you know, this interview is just amazing, Kate. You are giving so much great value, and I think my audience is going to be over the moon when they hear from an expert like yourself about some, SEO. Like I said at the very beginning, that some people think is just a little bit too hard and complicated, but you're really, you know, putting it out there in understandable terms for us all. So thank you. For someone who just wants to get started, what should they do to get started? Is there a place that you can go and run your website through an audit and get a report back, or any sort of little tools like that that you know of, or that you actually have yourself?
Yeah, look, I think there are lots of tools, but the problem with a lot of the tools is you'll get this report and you won't be able to understand it, and you won't be able to understand which of the bits of the report are important and which aren't so important, which bits are going to move the needle a lot and not take much effort, and which are going to be a massive struggle. So I think I hope it's okay to mention that I have a little mini free course called SEO Nibbles, not nipples, nibbles with bees. And that explains a lot of the things we were talking about today. It also has a checklist for how to hire an SEO consultant. And then I have another mini course called the 10-Day Challenge, which, you know, encourages you to run those reports, like site speed, for example, but it also explains the report and how to fix it. You know, because it's all very well and good finding out that your site's taking 10 seconds to load, and you get all this information saying you have JavaScript issues, you need caching, you need this, and you're like, what the hell is caching? So it's, again, it's about, reports are great, but unless you can interpret the data and implement it and feel confident about fixing the things or finding someone to fix them, you know, you could be right back to the beginning. So I think, yeah, it's finding a source of truth. There's some great people to follow online, like Rand Fishkin is a really great person to follow, and Brian Dean. They share a lot of really great content on how to do your own SEO, your own copy, and online marketing. So those are a couple of guys that I follow that I really recommend.
Okay, so where can people find these little mini courses that you have? Where do they go to have a bit more of a look at those?
Well, you can Google Kate Toon, and there's not many other Kate Toons, so you'll find a lot of my stuff there. You can Google SEO Nibbles, you'll find that. Number one, you'll Google 10-Day SEO Challenge, or if you're a Facebook lover, you can head to I Love SEO with Kate Toon, which is a big Facebook group, about 8,000 people in there. And then there I share tips and advice and help videos pretty much every day, and it's free. So you can just come and, you know, dip your toe in the SEO pond, and you might find that you enjoy it. A lot of people think, I'm not going to enjoy this, and they dip their toe in and then they dive right in. So because it's, once you understand even just some basic stuff and you make some fixes and you see results immediately, it's like amazing. It's like empowering and powerful, and you feel like, wow, I'm doing this. So, you know, I'd encourage everyone not to be frightened. You don't have to kind of put yourself out there as some guru of SEO. You can make tiny changes to your site and see a big impact straight away.
Oh, beautiful. Such words of encouragement, Kate. Thank you so much. I'm really thankful to have you on the podcast today. This has been really, really great. I hope that you have enjoyed it as much as I have.
Of course. As you can tell, I kind of love talking about SEO. It's a bit geeky, but there you go.
Yes, I can hear that in your voice, most certainly. Thank you. And just any last parting words, anything that I've forgotten to ask, or anything that you just want to let the audience know as far as SEO goes?
I think my final parting words would be, don't underestimate the power of Google. We can spend an awful lot of time in our marketing maybe focusing on things that we find easy, like posting on Facebook or fiddling around on Instagram. Yeah, you'll get a result from that, but it's a slow burn. So, think about those stats. Think about that 33% of the clicks, and think about that 70% of all online transactions. It really is worth giving it a shot.
Yeah, great. Perfect. Stats, love stats. And I think they're two really important ones. And certainly the 70%, I didn't realize either. I think I had read a stat that something like 51% of all traffic was done on social media these days. So maybe that was put out by a social media platform.
Well, I think 99% of statistics are made up on the spot, but I think we know as consumers that if I want to go and buy, a new pair of red shoes, I don't sit on Instagram hoping to see a photograph of red shoes, and I don't wait for an ad to pop up on Facebook. I go to Google and I type in red shoes, size, and then I look until I find what I want. So I think we as humans know the power of Google, and no amount of stats are going to persuade me otherwise, I think.
Yeah, that's an even better parting piece of advice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kate, for coming on the podcast. And I will have all the links to everything in the show notes, guys. So, if you're in the bath or running or out driving, don't worry about that. But yeah, thank you again, Kate. This has been so good.
Fabulous. I hope everyone is in the bath. That's a lovely idea. Everyone listening to us in the bath. How disturbing.
Thank you. So how brilliant was that, guys? Did you just get a whole new perspective on what this complicated SEO thing is that really isn't all that complicated at all? Yes, it will involve a little bit of work, but this podcast is all about making our business and our lives simpler. And I really think that Kate just hit that nail on the head with making something complex quite simple. We can all do a little bit of SEO, I'm sure. All the links are in the show notes of things that Kate talked about, including the SEO nibbles and the 10-day challenge. So if you've got questions, well, maybe you'd like to head into my Facebook group as well, which is Like-Minded Business Owners. If you haven't joined yet, there's a link in the show notes, or of course, just go to Facebook and search Like-Minded Business Owners. It's another really great way of staying on top of what's happening in the world of social media and marketing. And of course, it's full of people just like you and just like me, with questions just like you and just like me. So come and join the fun. The only thing that we're missing is you. I'll be back next Thursday with more marketing know-how and another great discovery, of course. And if you're enjoying the podcast, remember to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And maybe if you really enjoyed this one might be the one that you'd like to leave a rating and a review. Because, of course, those things are like gold for podcasters like me. But that is all for episode 39. I'd love to connect with you all on social, so let's get social on social. But of course, remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.